Now, when I want takeout and I want something with a nice gentle kick, Kung Pao Chicken is usually at the top of my order. It's just so good, there's so much flavor in it. Marinated stir-fried chunks of chicken in a zesty sweet and sour sauce topped off with fried peanuts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one's going into your dinner rotation pretty quick. The best part about it, you can make it at home, it's that easy. So we're gonna start off by prepping up our chicken. Sound good? Let's cook.
I've got about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, which brings me to about 4 total. I want to cut these down into bite-sized pieces. And in order to do so, press down on the chicken breast with one hand while carefully slicing through it widthwise in the other hand. This is just to make sure the chicken isn't moving while cutting it, ensuring you're going to be safe doing it. Now, slice them in 1/2-inch thick slices all the way down. Then what we're going to do is turn it 90 degrees and slice 1/2-inch thick more slices to give me beautiful 1/2-inch thick cubes. We're going to place them to the side in a large bowl.
Now, this recipe does in fact classically use boneless, skinless chicken breasts. However, you can still use thigh or drum meat. Just make sure it's completely deboned and the skin is removed. All right, let's marinate up this chicken.
We are going to add in 1 egg white, so just bobble that yolk between 2 shells, add it right into the bowl with the chicken. Next thing we're going to add in is 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Next, 3 tablespoons of Shaoxing wine. Then 2 more tablespoons of cornstarch. This is going to make sure the marinade sticks together and it's going to get a nice little coating on our chicken when we cook it. Then generously season it with coarse salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Then using clean hands or a glove or even a spoon, thoroughly mix it until it is completely coated on all sides. Then we're going to briefly set it to the side in the refrigerator. Also, make sure to clean your cutting board. It had raw chicken on it. And then now to make our Kung Pao sauce, we're going to add in a 1/2 cup of good chicken stock to a bowl. I've got a great homemade recipe for you. Next, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. Then 3 tablespoons of Shaoxing wine. Now 3 tablespoons of black vinegar. I realize this is going to be hard to find, so just use regular white distilled vinegar. That's a great substitute. Now 3 tablespoons of packed light brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is going to make sure our sauce is nice and thick. Now using a whisk, mix it completely until combined and that cornstarch is whisked into the mixture. Then briefly set it to the side.
And it's completely okay if you do not have Shaoxing wine or don't even have access to it. A few great substitutes are going to be dry sherry or mirin, which is a sweetened Japanese cooking wine. Now, if you do use mirin, just back off the sugar that's in the sauce a little bit. No problem. All right, let's prep up a few more things.
I've got about 2/3 cup or a nice handful size of dried Sichuan peppers. These are mild. You know me when it comes to spice. I like a little bit and I like it comfortable. I don't like it overly spicy. We're going to cut these down into about 1/2-inch thick pieces. We're also going to use the seeds, so all of these are going to the side in a bowl. Then I have 1 teaspoon of Sichuan peppercorns. Using a chef knife, we are just going to finely mince these because if you get one big chunk in there, it's going to be really overpowering. Set them to the side.
Now, I was able to snag some of these Sichuan peppercorns online, and it's something that I'm going to use more often given my job. If you purchase them, they are dried. They'll last several years if you store them properly. However, if you don't want to buy them, no problem. A great substitute for these are going to be 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper and then a 1/2 teaspoon of whole coriander seeds that are crushed up just like I did with those peppercorns. All right, a few more things to prep up.
I've got 4 garlic cloves. We're just going to trim off the root end and then thinly slice it. You could also finely grate this on a microplane or even just finely mince it using a chef knife. Now I've got a big block of fresh ginger. We don't need all of it, so I'm going to trim it down until it's about a 1-inch piece. Save the rest for another recipe. Then using a paring knife or a tourne knife, just want to remove all of that rough peel on the outside and make sure to stay as closely to the ginger as possible so that we have plenty of this ginger to use. Then slice it in half and then thinly slice it again, just like we did our garlic. And again, you can finely grate this on a microplane or just mince it using a knife. Now I've got some green onions. We are going to rinse them and then remove that root end. Now what we want to do is cut them into 1-inch pieces.
And you know that I always say it, but having everything finished, the mise en place ready to go, is so crucial in this recipe. The last thing you want to do is stop and think about having to prep something in the middle of stir frying. All will go wrong. This is crucial. Make sure all the prep is done before we get into it.
Just going to continue cutting these into about 1-inch pieces. It does not need to be perfect in any way. And now for some equipment, I've got a large 12 to 14-inch seasoned up wok. You could also use a very large frying pan if that's all you have. A couple extra utensils. I've got a long ladle, skimmer, and spatula that I absolutely love to use for all my stir fries. I grabbed them on Amazon, but all you really do need is a long spoon.
Now, this dish was said to be created by a man named Ding Baozhen. Sorry if I butchered that. He was a governor of the Sichuan province in China, and he later received the title of Gong Bao, which is someone who protects the prince and literally translates to palace guardian. Now, there are 3 different stories about how this dish came to be exactly. 1, he was showing gratitude towards a family who helped him when he was drowning as a little boy and named it after them using their name. The second one, he was a great chef and he loved to cook and he created this dish. The third one, he had personal chefs and he told them preferential ingredients he wanted them to use, and boom, this dish was said to be. Whichever story is correct, the word Gong Bao later turned into Kung Pao as we know it today. All right, the way you make this is by using the very simple procedure of stir frying. Let me show you how we do it.
First things first, let's add that wok to the cooktop on high heat with 3 tablespoons of peanut oil. Then I'm going to add in a ½ cup of unsalted peanuts. Now, this part is optional. I think by doing this, it adds more flavor. So once that oil's smoking, those peanuts are in there, and we're going to cook them only for 20 to 30 seconds. They will cook extremely quickly, so you definitely have to pay close attention because they'll overly brown before you know it. Set them to the side on some paper towels. Discard that oil, place that wok back on the burner on high heat, adding in 2 more tablespoons of that peanut oil. Once it begins to lightly smoke like this, I'm now going to add in my chicken. Now, I've got a lot of chicken, so I'm going to do it in 2 separate batches. Totally fine. After you add the chicken in there, grab that spoon or spatula and press it up the sides of the wok. We want to get a really nice sear on this. We do not want to steam it, and that is why I do this. More surface area means more searing, browning, and flavor. Now to stir fry. Grab the handle with one hand, stick the spoon right in the center, and move the pan back and forth while gently moving that spoon. This is how you stir fry. It is nothing more complicated than this. Properly doing this stir fry procedure will ensure that the chicken is browned and cooked through in about 3 minutes. Set the chicken to the side. I like to put it on paper towels just to drain off any excess oil. Then what I'm going to do is add that wok back onto the burner, 2 more tablespoons of peanut oil, and I'm going to add in the remaining chicken. Now, if you're familiar with Chinese cooking, you know that oil is in and out of this pan at all times. All right, once that's done cooking, just add it to the rest of the chicken. Now add that wok again back to the burner over medium heat this time with 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Want a little bit more flavor there. That's why I'm using that one. Add in the garlic and the ginger. Now this is going to cook very quickly, maybe 30 to 45 seconds until it becomes fragrant and lightly browned. At this stage, I know I'm good. So I'm going to add in those Sichuan peppercorns to bring out more flavor from that, and then those Sichuan chilies. Stir frying here for just about 1 to 1.5 minutes. This is going to bring out more of those nice zesty flavors. Again, comfortably spicy, not so hot that I need to drink a glass of milk afterwards. Now, grab the sauce and then give it a quick stir because a lot of times that cornstarch gets stuck at the bottom. Pour it in there and it will thicken almost immediately over that medium heat until you get a nice velvety sauce just like this. Grab our cooked chicken, pour it right in there, then using that spatula or a spoon, just move things around to combine the sauce and coat it completely on the chicken. Then I like to add in those green onions and peanuts, save a little bit to the side of both of those for garnish at the end. Mix all of those ingredients together to help marry those flavors. And then what would Kung Pao chicken be without some nice fluffy rice? And in case you're wondering, I did rinse this very well under cold water before cooking it. And hey, it is fluffy. I'll give you that.
And this sauce is really similar to a sweet and sour sauce with a little bit of zest in there from the peppercorns and the chilies. Now, I use a lot of these same ingredients in some of my other dishes like General Tso's, Mongolian beef, and my Thai drunken noodles just in case you want to use them up in other places. And it still always goes back to these fundamental techniques and putting them into practice over and over again so that you can master the art of cooking. And guess what? People are going to want to come to your house for better than takeout. All right, let me show you how to plate this up.
I'm starving, so I'm adding quite a bit of this Kung Pao chicken to a shallow bowl. See all those delicious flavors. Then I garnish with a little bit more green onions. Remember, I told you to save those to the side. And then finally, a little bit more fried peanuts. I cannot wait to get into this.
There's a lot of flavor in this dish. You could also add in things like bell peppers, carrots, or broccoli. Have some fun here. But it's so easy. The flavors are fantastic. It's quickly going to go into your weeknight rotation. That, my friend, is a promise. Now, if you like this recipe, you're going to love my beef stir fry. So good, so easy to do. I've got a great recipe video. See you on there.